We tested things like Facebook ads. We tested things like influencer marketing. We tested collaborations. We tested hiring a PR company. We tested going on huge like podcasting runs to understand where our customers were so that we could meet them where they were at in order to convert them to sales. So I would say those are the three biggest things that I would recommend when you start thinking about a product business.
Hey, everyone, and welcome back to the Fast Foundations podcast. This is RT Custer coming to you live today. We're not actually live, but it feels like we are. I'm trying to show up that way with my friend Cayla Kussman. And she is going to tell us all about luxury branding, building luxury brands. I also run a luxury brand. I'm super stoked for this conversation with you, Cayla. My first question is, your Cayla Gray branding is just so awesome, and the luxury branding, it sounds like you just did a rebrand. What's your experience like running a CPG company, and why did you decide to go the luxury route instead of the mass market route?
So I've spent the last 20 years of my life in leadership positions with other large retailers. My first job was actually in the luxury space. I was an assistant buyer 20 years ago. Good Lord, I'm dating myself. 20 years ago for Saks Fifth Avenue. And I fell in love with the connection and the luxury aspect of fragrance and the way that fragrance told a story. And so that's always kind of been a thread throughout my entire life. And then I kind of shifted over into the mass market of CPG, doing things for a grocery chain, a retailer grocery chain. And then my last position for the last 10 years was actually as a senior director of production and domestic sourcing for PetSmart. I stood up their domestic sourcing division for the company. And so was literally able to see both sides of retail, was able to see the luxury aspect side, and then the side where we were just pushing units and doing, temporary price reductions to get units and get customers through the door. And to me, the thing that really spoke to me a lot more was the luxury side of thing. It told such a beautiful story that you don't get with all of the other brands that were really just pushing units and pushing sales.
That's awesome. Thank you, Cayla. And before we get deeper into that, take us back. How'd you get into CPG and DTC, and real quick for the audience, that's consumer packaged goods or consumer products, physical things sold online or direct to consumer. How'd you get into this world, and what was your story, and why are you so passionate about all this stuff?
So I was born in Wisconsin. Spent a ton of time in nature. Was always a little bit beauty obsessed. I just loved product and like playing with product, understanding product. I'm somebody who I love to kind of take something and break down how things are done. And so when I look at a product, I love to learn how it was produced, how it was put together. I love to understand the process of literally creating something that you can physically use and physically walk away with as a customer. And when I first landed my very first job, it was as an assistant buyer of fragrances, and I was obsessively in heaven. I remember standing in the fragrance closet and just falling in love with the way that scents kind of told a story and really tied the story and the tie between scent and memory so strong. And I've always really noticed that. So I've just loved consumer packaged goods. I've been in that space for the last 20 years, leading other teams through that space and helping build other people's brands. But I always wanted to start my own company. My dad was an entrepreneur. He started a company, an adhesive company. And so he sold adhesive to large consumer goods product businesses. Like Bush's Baked Beans and, Sprecher Root Beer and all the big guys. So I got to go and visit factories with him and just kind of learn all the behind the scenes stuff on actual physical products. And it's just so special. But it's hard to walk away from a steady paycheck in corporate. And so I never really left. The bonuses, all the things, the promotions, all the things that kept me staying in corporate. And I actually really enjoyed doing it too. But I actually moved to Arizona in 2010, met my husband, and we started trying for a family. And we got pregnant in 2017, and I actually suffered from a ruptured ectopic pregnancy and almost lost my life the same day. The same day we lost our baby. And then it happened again in 2018. And it was really after those two moments that I realized life is so short. It's not guaranteed. I wanted to go after my dreams. I wanted to build my dream business. I wanted to build a really beautiful luxury aspirational business that people could get excited about using, and it's something that can create a ritual and a moment for them throughout their day. And so I started working on Cayla Gray, and named the company Cayla Gray because that was going to be the name of our first baby.
Mm,
I just wanted a way to honor the loss by putting really beautiful things into the world. So
yeah.
yeah, so launched the brand in Black Friday of 2020, and here we are a couple years later.
It's such a great story of ups and downs and the roller coasters of entrepreneurship. So thank you for sharing that and being transparent about the background of all that. And I love how you honor the name, and I love the way you said that and bring beautiful things into the world. Is that really the inspiration for what type of products that you decided to start with? Or when you had the idea, did it start with, I want to bring beautiful things in the world, or did you start with the ideas of your current product lineup and then tie in the name and all that stuff afterwards? I'm always curious on that, like the brand inception story.
What's interesting is I didn't realize we just went through a huge rebrand process, and I had a big party last week to talk about, like, to thank the people that had helped me build this business over the last 2 years, and then to show them the rebrand. And I remember standing in that room and literally thinking, do you ever look back on your life and realize that all of these little tiny moments and threads throughout your life are leading you to the moment that you're literally standing in? And that was
Mm,
the moment I had. And I realized that fragrance for me has been a thread through my entire life, both from like literally my first dream job to be, being an assistant buyer of fragrances, to when I found out that I was pregnant. I was heartbroken because I realized that I actually couldn't wear and use all of my favorite fragrances because they were toxic.
yeah.
And I had no idea. I had no idea. I was so ignorant to it. I had
Yeah.
no idea. And after, you read all the books and, you try to clean up all the things in your life, it made me so sad that something that is such an integral part of who I am as a person, I couldn't use it anymore. And so for me to create a clean beauty brand, something that is non-toxic, hypoallergenic, something that we are very transparent with all of the ingredients in our product, it again was just a little nugget that was placed on my heart throughout my entire life, that it was a natural evolution to me creating this brand. And it was just a very obvious, I was obsessed with fragrance. There's a need in the market, but more than anything, it was just, I wanted people to really feel something when they use my product.
That's awesome. And when you talk about the inception of the products and deciding on a physical product, I mean, it sounds like your background, that was probably the only way to go. But before we hit record, you mentioned there's so much opportunity in the world for people like me and you that have physical product ideas, but right now they're just selling services or they're working a 9 to 5 or things like that. What do you think, or what do you say to people that are like on the fence about bringing a product to life, and that journey of, is it worth it for all the stress?
Yeah, I feel like building a product based business can be very expensive. A lot of times, as you grow, like, you're reinvesting the dollars, the profit that you're making, into creating more inventory, getting out there and doing new customer acquisition. And so it's kind of like, it's a constant like mountain that you're trying to climb. But the way that I think about product is that if you're a service based business and you're providing a service, like, it to me, it's just such a naturally beautiful tie-in to actually give them a physical product for them to take away with, and that
Yep.
every time that they use that physical product, they're reminded of the service that you're giving them,
Mm,
whether it's a coaching or whether it's, through sound baths. We just did a beautiful collaboration with one of my friends who does sound baths, and now literally every time her customers are using those scents, they're brought back to the moment in time and the intention in which they set while they were using her service. And so I think there's so much opportunity out there that a lot of times service-based businesses tend to not think about when you tie both service and product together.
totally. And that ties me into back to luxury and thinking about, when I talk about watches and selling luxury wristwatches, first of all, and we kind of laughed about this when earlier, it's I sell something that people don't need for a price that most people in the world cannot afford. And that's one way to define luxury.
Yeah, yeah,
Another way is how it makes you feel.
yeah.
A mass market product makes you feel one way, and a luxury product makes you feel a different way. And to me, that goes into the experience. So
Mhm.
walk us through the experience that you're trying to create with your products, and it not just being the physical thing that you're holding, but like, how do you craft that experience from packaging to the actual look of the product itself to the user experience? What are your pro tips for kind of designing that luxury experience?
I think for me, luxury means something a little bit deeper than maybe it does for other people. When I intended to set out to be a luxury brand, to me it was about, you should be expecting more from a luxury brand. You should be expecting more
Hmm.
personalized attention. You should be expecting products that aren't going to harm you, that don't have toxic ingredients in them. Like, it should just be an expectation of, if you're paying more, you should be treated a certain way that makes you feel special, and it gives
Hmm.
you and creates an experience for you that sets you apart from a lot of the other brands out there. And I was very intentional with the way that the photography that we have, with the packaging. Like, I wanted to have the very best packaging out there, because I want it to be like this beautiful unboxing experience for people when they get our products. It literally elevates your every single day, versus something that you could run to Walmart or Target, get and just pick up off the shelf. It does create for us. I really wanted my product to be a part of somebody's everyday ritual, and create a certain sense of a deeper understanding of themselves, and create meaning throughout their day. That's, to me, what luxury means to me, and what I was trying to create for my customers.
That's awesome. And you mentioned a couple of retail stores, so I'm curious, do you start with just direct to consumer? Are you in retail stores? How many, if so? Like, what's your thought process on that decision of direct to consumer versus wholesale and retail?
Yeah, I think I have a little bit of a different perspective coming from a retail background. I really understand the ins and outs of what is required from brands when they go into mass retailers. And so when I started to build my brand, I was intentional about the growth strategy. So the first year of my brand, my goal was to essentially be 75% direct to consumer and 25% wholesale. So selling my
Yep.
products wholesale to a retailer, because that gave me the margin mix that I really wanted, for the first year in business, to allow me to reinvest in creating more inventory in order to increase my sales.
Yep.
So when you are a direct to consumer, when you have a direct to consumer sale, you get a larger margin than when you are a wholesale sale, because wholesale, you're essentially cutting your retail in half, to give those retailers a little bit of room to play with when they go to resell your item.
Yep.
And so then year two of the business, we did a little bit more of a shift. So we're about 50% direct to consumer, 50% in retail shops. And right now, I'm being pretty strategic with who we're partnering in terms of retail, because the second year of business, I really wanted retailers that could give me direct customer feedback, both from a retail perspective. I wanted them to give me advice on packaging. I wanted to understand what their customers were saying
Yeah.
before we went into this rebrand this year in year three, so that I knew exactly the adjustments that I wanted to make when I went into a larger production run. So this year we're at about 250 retailers, and we're about 50-50. So 50% direct to consumer, 50% wholesale. And that's a number that I'm hoping to pretty much stay consistently with, in order to get the margin mix that I want for the growth of my company.
Hey, it's RT. Thanks so much for listening to the Fast Foundations podcast. I want to see you in the room. I don't want you to just be hearing my and our voices. Let me tell you about the Fast Foundations Mastermind. It's a 6-month-long program, and it's our signature program. It's how you join our community. Every time we talk about this amazing community of almost 400 people that have gone through our mastermind, that we have here on the podcast, that we hear from, and our mentors, all that kind of stuff, all the guest speakers, the coaches, all the awesome things that we get to do, it all starts with the mastermind. It's a 6-month-long program with two-day in-person events. One's in Scottsdale, one's in Denver. Yes, they're in amazing, beautiful places. We have them in cool spots because that's fun. We also give you 6 months with a coach, one-on-one. And the most important thing is, once you go through that mastermind and you learn from all these amazing speakers that we bring in, learn from your coach, grow with me and Jim and the rest of our team, you get lifetime access to our community. Every single thing that we do is recorded and uploaded into a private platform off of Facebook, off of the social medias, all that kind of crap. And it's saved in one place that you have, again, lifetime access to. So when you join the Fast Foundations Mastermind, which you can learn more about at fastfoundations.com and click on Join the Community to apply, when you join this mastermind, you're in our community for life. I really hope to see you in the room, and I hope to talk to you soon. That's awesome. And that's always a hard decision as you build a company, and it's all, I mean, it all comes down to the money and the profit margins, like you're saying, and doing that math. I've done that math many a time, and currently we're like 98% direct to consumer because
Yeah.
that's the only way I can achieve the foundations that we want.
Yeah.
But I love what you said about working with retailers and getting feedback,
Mm-hmm.
because there's the level of feedback you get from someone standing in a store and holding your product and holding your competitor's product and making a decision. There's no way to achieve that virtually.
Yeah.
And I guess theoretically Amazon kind of does that with recommended
Yeah.
products, and people can pull up two websites, but nobody's doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. What are your retailers saying? Like what kind of conversations do you get to have with the buyers, and what does that process look like and feel like?
Yeah, so we do quarterly surveys. So we send it out to our buyers just to ask what customers are saying about our products, ask what they would like us to improve, how we can improve. And when I first launched the business, all of my packaging, we did this intentionally because of money. I only had a certain amount of money that I had to invest in inventory and marketing and all of the things that you have when you launch a business. And so all of my SKUs had the exact same packaging with it, and I have different scents, and so I knew that retailers were going to come back to me and say, we would love to have different types of packaging for every different type of scent.
Yeah.
But to do that, it's pretty pricey.
Yep.
And so that was resoundingly from all of the different retailers. It was, we would love a way to differentiate better the different types of scents. And I was doing it through sticker labels. And so right now we literally just launched our rebrand last week, and we have now all new packaging for every different type of scent. So those are types of things that are invaluable when it comes to retailer feedback, and why I felt it was super important to be in retailers. I
Hmm.
don't know that we'll ever, like you said, I don't know that we'll ever have the majority of our product in retailers, because especially as you get into the larger retailers, your margins just get slimmer and slimmer and slimmer, especially when it comes to things like getting dinged for vendor compliance and transportation and all the, TPRs and marketing, all the things that large retailers charge you for. But the feedback that they get and the eyes that they get on your brand is something that you would probably pay a lot more money in marketing for than you would if you were just able to get into some key strategic retailers that match the aesthetic and your customer avatar.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And just thinking about retailers, and then I brought up Amazon. I'm curious if you sell on Amazon or if you plan to. I'm one of the next people I'm interviewing is a person that runs a 1,000-person mastermind full of Amazon sellers,
Okay.
and there's people that build their business completely on Amazon. So, what are your thoughts on Amazon and similar retailers like that?
Yeah, so Amazon, we did a test on Amazon. Amazon is a little bit harder for the beauty space because there's so many companies out there that are knocking off beauty products that are not
Yeah.
authentic. They don't work very well. Tons and tons and tons of knockoff beauty products on Amazon. And so I tested it. I tested using fulfillment by Amazon, sent them, about a couple $100 of inventory. It was a low dollar test, and then placed a bunch of orders for myself. And yeah, what came back to me in the mail was kind of shocking. All of my candles were melted and
Yeah.
broken in pieces. Just the way that they cared for my product was not the customer experience that I wanted for my customers.
Totally.
And I was bummed because it's a beautiful sales channel. I mean, can't get bigger than Amazon.
Right.
And so it was a bummer that they were just unable to handle my product in the way that I was hoping that for the customer experience that I wanted my customers to have. So we tested it, we learned, we took our stuff off of Amazon. We may test it again in the future and just do, fulfillment straight out of our own fulfillment center. So yeah, we tested it. I'm not quite sure. I'm unsure about where I want to go with Amazon in the future.
No, and that's thank you for answering that the way you did, because that's exactly why I asked it. I've heard great experiences with it,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people in the luxury space, especially,
Yeah.
just they say exactly what you just said, which is Amazon's wonderful and it's
Yeah.
massive and there's
Yeah.
so many eyeballs, but it's not just about the product, it's about the
Yeah.
experience. And until they perfect that, you know, maybe it doesn't make sense. So I love the way that your brain just processed all of that stuff, and like it sounds like you operate in a similar way to a lot of us, you know, in the Fast Foundations community, and how we talk about, which is like test it, try it, fail
Yes.
fast, fail often, fail
Yeah.
small, you know, and
Yeah.
then iterate and go. So if I'm considering, you know, creating a physical product, maybe walk us through like the number, like, I don't know, the top 3 things I should test or try or dip my toe in the water first, before I like go all in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, totally. I would say the top 3 things for me is really I did a lot of customer survey and customer feedback surveys before we actually launched the product. So I
Mm,
created a concept. I had, I think, a 25-person survey that I sent out and asked people to fill out, and I would give them a $100 gift card to a small business of their choice in order for them to fill it out. It gave
cool.
me immediate customer feedback on the type of
Yeah.
products and things that people are looking for to help me kind of create the vision behind my brand. So that was one thing that I would say would be a really great idea to kind of do before you start to invest dollars into a product. Second is just get a product out there once you get that feedback, because the first product that you get out into the market, obviously find a manufacturer who has low minimum order quantities. You're not going to want to put a ton of money into your first product, but get a product out there, ask questions. How are customers feeling about it? What would they improve about the product? Because you're going to want to understand what changes you need to make before you invest in a larger production run on your product. And then third is test and learn a whole bunch of different marketing concepts. We took the entire first year of our business to test and learn everything in 90-day increments. So we
Mm,
tested things like Facebook ads, we tested things like influencer marketing, we tested collaborations, we tested hiring a PR company, we tested going on huge like podcasting runs to understand where our customers were so that we could meet them where they were at in order to convert them to sales. So I would say those are the 3 biggest things that I would recommend when you start thinking about a product business.
fantastic. Thank you, Kelly. When you tested those marketing things, I'm just curious because I, just as much as I love physical products, I also love marketing. What are the things that ended up working for you? Like, what do you think right now, post pandemic, especially with your retail mix? Are Facebook ads still the thing? Did the PR thing work? Are podcast tours still effective? What marketing channels do you most wanted to keep investing in right now?
I think what was really interesting to me is that all of the paid marketing tactics were the least effective.
Mm,
And so for me, things like collaborations where I would connect with another small business owner or another, for my brand, another woman in business and create something beautiful together,
yeah.
um, helped connect my customers a little bit deeper with the meaning behind my company. And then a second thing that worked for us was PR. And really, PR for me was getting a sense of authority within the beauty space
Hmm.
because people are actually putting my product on their physical body. And so for me to be able to have proof of concept, to have people talk about my brand was something that's just important in a space that is so incredibly saturated, like the beauty space is for me. So those were 2 things that really moved the needle for my business, and honestly, just me busting my ass and getting out there and networking with other people. The paid ads, the influencers, those types of things, just they weren't authentic, I would say. And I think people feel that and are looking for something deeper and more meaningful in their shopping habits than they have been in the past.
Totally agree. Yep. And that's honestly, that's mostly what's worked for us at the same path. And it's funny how the things that you literally invest a bunch of cash in pay
Yeah.
off less than the things that are just a handshake or a conversation with somebody
Yes.
else. So
Yeah.
that's how we learn though. Like you said, we got to test it, we
Yeah.
got to try it, and we got to find out.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I just pulled up your website. Again, you know, I was on it earlier as we were chatting, and just kind of admiring your luxury branding. But can you take just 2 minutes and just sell our audience on why your products are so awesome? Because I need everyone listening to this to go to your website and just be inspired by this branding, first of all. But second of all, when you get there, and tell us where to go, please, for sure, in the best way. But when you get there, what are your favorite products? What's the one thing I should buy before leaving your website?
I love that. So we are a clean fragrance company, and our website is caylagray.com, which is CAYLAGRAY.com. And clean fragrances, it's an interesting space. Nobody's regulating what clean means in the beauty industry.
Hmm.
Actually, they're in Europe, they restrict over 1,300 ingredients in beauty, and in the US, they restrict 11 ingredients. And so nobody's really
Wow.
regulating what beauty means, what clean beauty means. And so we're one of the few companies, fragrance companies, that actually discloses all of the ingredients in the word fragrance on our website, because
Hmm.
fragrance companies are not required by law to disclose their ingredients. And there can be thousands of ingredients within the word fragrance on all of the different products out there. And it was important
Fascinating.
to me to be transparent of what's in our products, because if I'm going to call myself a luxury brand, if we're telling you that we're better than all of the other brands out there, then we need to put our money where our mouth is. And so we are one of the few fragrance companies that discloses all of our ingredients. We do perfumes, candles. We're launching a bunch of different bath and body products within the next year. And so I would recommend going on our website and testing out our discovery kit. So our
Hmm.
discovery kit has one of each of our core scents in it. It's a way to kind of test and see which one resonates with you the most. And then once you purchase a discovery kit, you actually get a coupon in the mail for 20% off the cost of a full size bottle. So essentially, you're almost paying for your discovery kit when you transition into a fuller size bottle. And then we also release seasonal scents. So as people, we're not one thing forever, right? We continue to evolve and grow. And to me, scent also evolves and grows as you do as a person. And so we release seasonal scents every quarter. And that's a scent that you can kind of layer on top of your core scent to create something new and personal for you. So yeah, that's a little bit of behind the scenes about our brand.
That's awesome. Thank you. And I'm looking at the discovery kit now. And if you're listening to this or watching this, you got to check this out. This is what a lot of people in marketing call a foot in the door offer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that's like your discovery kit is $22. And what would you say the average price point is for your other products?
So we've got rollerballs for 30, full size
Yep.
perfumes for 78.
Yep. And so for only $20 roughly,
Mm-hmm.
I can test out, try out, and more importantly, experience the Cayla Gray brand, which is, first of all, Kelly, brilliant. But if you want to get into this kind of space, you need something to get your foot in the door. And that's a huge learning that we found on all different brands that we've worked with. And so I'm just sitting here in awe of the brilliance of this marketing campaign. So appreciate you, Kelly. This is super, super cool. Real quick, what's the best way besides, tell us your website again and all that, but the best way to connect with you if they want to learn more about your brand, connect with you one-on-one, because it sounds like you do mentorships as well and share
Mm-hmm.
your brilliance with people. So
Mm-hmm.
how do I connect with you on those things?
Yeah, so our website, again, is caylagray.com. So CAYLAGRAY.com. We're all over Instagram. That's probably where you'll find
Yeah.
the most up-to-date information on, trade shows, markets, pop-ups, all of, new releases, all the different things. And our Instagram is Cayla Gray Co. So at CAYLAGRAYCO. And then me personally, my Instagram is Kelly_Ward, WARD_Kussman. Kussman. And yeah, we do a mentorship program every single year. We bring in 3 to 4 small businesses for free and help them start and scale their business. And then I also do coaching for a company called Founder. So yeah, I would love to connect and learn about everybody's businesses and see if product could be a great fit for you.
That's awesome. So Kelly, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your mentorship with us today. If you want to connect with her, just check out either the show notes underneath us here if you're watching on YouTube, or underneath on your phone on your podcast app of choice where you're listening in. We'll put all the links that she just rattled off there for you real quick. I'm also going to include this link directly to the Discovery Kit because I just can't talk about how great that idea is. Start there. So awesome. Kelly, thank you so much for joining us. That was another episode of Fast Foundations, another mentor session from another beautiful, intelligent, amazing human mentor that we get to share our time with. Thank you, Kelly. We'll see y'all later.